All right, here we go. Today we're in the office today. I've got a special guest for you, Greg Thiel, awesome track coach. Thank you so much for being here today.
Good to be here, Greg.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah.
This is a great moment to tell everybody out there about who you are, what's your story, how you became so successful at what you do. Go ahead and begin. You just got a fascinating story with your life and how you bring that out, and people I think are you're contagious. People love to be around you, and I think that trickles into your programs. And kids later on in life, I bump into them, and they're just so grateful for having you in their life when they stepped out from high school into their track and field program, and later in life they're just still thrilled, enthusiastic, and they take that momentum that you gave them, and then now they're successful in their lives.
Well, you
really
probably give me way too much credit for that. I don't know about all that. My coaching philosophy is to build relationships. It's always been about relationships, and value the athlete, whichever the athlete is, and also cater to their particular needs. That takes a lot of work and a lot more time than just rolling the athlete out there and running them. But I think that's probably been, and it's not mine, it's ours with the staff. The success has been that we value each athlete, whether it's the potential Olympian down to the walk-on athlete, and give them that value and pour into each one of them.
So share about, go back a little bit further, like how you got started. I mean, there was probably some instrumental, story that sort of gave you that oomph, like, I'm going to be a coach.
I actually moved to Florida when I was 23 and lived a pretty crazy life, and was working for a pool company and lived next to a high school. Got to know the football coaches there, and track job opened up. The assistant football coach took the job, didn't know anything about track, and he asked me to help, so I jumped in. I ran collegiately in high school and just jumped in full bore with it, and it just kind of evolved from there.
Okay. Was there anything that sort of stuck out at you how you have this gift to maybe bring out the best in others? I mean, where does that come from?
Honestly, I think that comes from God, because I've noticed it more so in the beginning of my coaching career. I was pretty worldly and pretty lost, but still treated kids the right way. But then my life changed in 2004. I surrendered my life to Christ, and that's really changed everything. And now I work for a whole different purpose, if you will. I want to help these kids. I don't care who they are, what level they are.
Right.
And there's so much bigger picture now than there is just running track or just being an Olympian or just winning a medal.
Right. I think everybody can pick up on that right now, where what Greg just said was he doesn't matter what level they are. He just wants to help kids, and it doesn't matter the background, what troubles they've had. He can see what lies ahead of them through their character and how you can add your character. I think people just draw into that spirit that you have, and just brings out the best best of them.
It's so important to give the athlete that quality experience. I know growing up in sports, I was in an era where it was tape and aspirin to it and tough love, and there wasn't a lot of relationships, and it was really kind of not a pleasant experience. And I think when I got into coaching, I wanted to do something completely different than what I experienced that way.
That's great. Talk a little bit about your program and how you kind of devise a program and how you can take individuals, you look at them individually and sort of create a different approach opposed to one size fits all plan.
That's correct. Since I've been coaching, I've always taken the approach of looking at each individual athlete separately and on their skill sets and their needs. There are some things we do as a group, because obviously you have to with that. But as you get into the season and we're really trying to taper and get better, you start to individualize the workouts more, because someone may need more volume and strength work, someone is going to respond better to speed and quickness, some need more time in the weight room, some less. And I think if you can take the time to figure that out with each athlete and give them what they need, you just have a lot more success.
Yeah. Especially with like injuries, we can also break the body down. You can look at a person and almost predict when they're going to break down if we apply too much to that area, right? So
Absolutely, I think, yeah.
Glutes and hips and knees and feet, they all can sort of take different approaches if they got some imbalances or a different approach.
Usually have kids come to me, recently, a lot of the kids have come to me and they've had hamstring injuries in high school. And we bring them in the weight room the first day and we kind of test their muscle balance with their glutes and their hamstrings and things like that. And we usually see, almost 90% of the time, a muscle imbalance where they're weak in one area and very strong in the other, overdeveloped quads compared to the hamstrings and things like that. And so we start right off the bat trying to fix, previous injuries or give them muscle balance. I've learned over the years, whether it's through structural massage therapy or whether it's through weights, and actually it's a combination of all those things, muscle balance and being in body balance is the key to injuries. Most injuries are preventable.
I love that word. Everyone hear that? Injuries are preventable, and they can also be predictable. But you can stand someone up and look and see the imbalances, or you do the muscle testing and see the imbalances, and you can almost predict. That athlete may not need 40 miles a week. That athlete may need just 25 and do everything else through strength training. Where the other could be another kid that could tolerate 80 miles a week, but he doesn't need all that extra stability type of work because it's already there.
Yeah, I've learned through you and Peggy that the feet are such a huge component to athletes, and it's probably the most neglected thing, whether it's footwear or everything. And I've gotten to the point now where you can almost look at their feet and watch the way they foot strike and say, especially in the distance kids, well, this kid's going to have knee problems, or this kid's going to have hip problems, or there's an imbalance there. This young man or young woman can't handle the volume that this other one can have, and we've got to take it slower. And that's where you've really got to be in tune to what the athlete looks like, not just what they've run.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Talk a little bit about, you get a kid run out of high school and they come in as a freshman, and how do you get that, convey that message where we're not trying to make you an all-star or hot shot, a qualifier that first year. It's a process, and how you build on that.
That's correct. For us and my philosophy, it's a process. And what I want to do is set that athlete up for some success that freshman year, because they go from probably being in a high school where one of the best athletes, and they certainly have a lot of success at the high school level. When you get to college, and everybody's got that same talent level and work. And so I'll take the kids. I have a hurdler, for example, that was a 2-time state champ in the short hurdles. She was very good in the long hurdles as well. But when you get into college, it's just a lot. There's a lot of adjustments there. So we've kind of focused on her in the short hurdles because that's where her strengths are right now, and slowly build up the 400 hurdles for her as we go, because it's so easy for an athlete, and it's tougher in cross country because you don't get to kind of pick and choose things. They've got to run it. It's tough to jump into that level of competition week in, week out, and not get discouraged because you go from being the forefront to all of a sudden, wow, there's 7 kids on my team better than I am. And so you got to find a way as a coach to give that athlete some kind of platform for some success to build on.
Build on success, but it all starts with the process and the plan, right?
Right, communications, that here's our plan for you. You come in and we're going to be frank about it. Look, there's obviously you're weak somewhere, you need strength. We're not going to just throw you into this because you're going to be injured, you're going to be in a boot. So we're going to really focus on weightlifting, core strength, getting you in the right body balance, and slowly bring those miles up, or slowly bring the track workouts up. That I won't ask my senior kids, my freshman kids won't be asked to do the same as my senior kids in volume and stuff, because they're more likely going to get hurt because they're not prepared for it yet.
Right. So I think the key thing that we can learn from that is process. Everything's a process.
Correct.
And that builds into other avenues of their life, right? To where they can take that process of being an athlete and push that into when they're no longer an athlete, they can process that into finances, their business career, the rest of their life, and saving for retirement. Everything is just a big process, and life's a process.
And teaching them it's tougher with this generation is patience. Thanks to ESPN and everything, you've got these freshman kids that come in. I think about Cindy McLaughlin, come in and they dominate. But those are one in a generation, or very few most kids it's going to take some time, especially in our sport, because it's all about strength and conditioning, and all of that's maturation. So teaching them that, hey, we want a little success, but it's a process, and you're not going to do those things. And I think when kids understand that, they respond well to that.
Awesome, Greg. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thanks
bet.
for being here.
Thanks for
I
everything you're
appreciate
doing
it.
for our program.
All right, so take care.
Been great.
We'll see you next time. Stay tuned.